Today's video, we're going to talk about how giving people a reason to act right now, not a little bit from now, but now, not next week, now, is going to be able to crank up the amount of profit you can get from your PPC campaigns, running them on Google, Facebook, wherever you're running them, or general online advertising, driving traffic to your site, how you can get more out of your campaign starting immediately just by giving people a reason to act now versus procrastinating, with 80% of the people that you pay for to come to your site not ready to buy now. This is going to be able to make you at least 20% more money on the money that you're making already. And I have information that's going to be able to pump that to at least 40% if you're not doing both of these things, which most of you guys aren't even doing. The basics here, which I'm also going to cover in terms of changing your pitch or your offer on your landing page or where you're taking people to on your site, so you get an additional 40+% profits on the same exact ad spend that you have today. So I'm going to go over what the strategy is. I'm going to give you some real examples of where we've done this exact thing before, upwards of 8 different examples, to show you how easy this is to do and apply to your business and how much you can actually make doing it for your business. So with that said, we'll get into it. When people get to your landing pages, what you are doing to get that person to act past, or what are you doing to get that person to act past asking for the sale or inquiry? So in other words, what are you doing other than saying, here's my product, are you ready to buy it or not? Or we offer this service, are you ready to inquire or not? What are you doing past that to get the person who's not ready to do either of those things, i.e. 80% of the people who get to your page aren't going to be ready to necessarily automatically do it. It varies a little bit by market, but respectively, that's pretty much the numbers. What are you doing? Are you asking them, well, if you're not ready to inquire today, how about you put your name in and we can stay in contact with us, and we'll send you information about the industry, or we'll send you information about our, specifically what more about our company. We'll send you information. We'll send you a brochure. We'll send you information when our prices are lowered, so on and so forth. What are you doing any of this? What if someone is not ready to buy right now? Do you actually have a way to keep them in the fold so that when they are ready to buy, that you're still top of mind? And so by having one of those things I mentioned, you actually increase your chances, so when that person is ready to buy, of the 80% who isn't going to go to your site and ready to buy instantly, when they do buy, if they're going to buy, that you end up the one that they still end up buying from, instead of, later on forgetting about you completely. You paid this person to get to your site when they're basically just kind of dabbling with the idea of potentially buying a product or service that you offer, so that you ultimately cash in on that initial money that you paid to get them during the dabbling stage, so that it pays off and you could ultimately do more of that advertising, given it has a higher return for your company. Respectively, the more expensive the product or service that you offer, the more that you need a secondary offer, is what this really is. To offer somebody, other than just buying your product or inquiring about it from a salesperson right then and there, in order to get a good return or get the full return from your PPC campaigns. In other words, if you're selling a $20 broom, either they're ready to buy it right now or not. You're selling a house, the person's going to probably need at least 6 months to decide if that's the house that they want. So it's more critical to have a secondary offer to get their information, so that later on when they go to buy a house, that they don't forget. Maybe they don't, if you're selling houses, they don't buy that house, they buy another house, and you got, they at least buy it from you. But in general, they don't forget, like I said, about the house that you're selling, assuming you were only selling one house there, or you're selling one expensive piece of machinery. They don't forget about your company and your machine 6 months from now, when they finally got the budget and the approval to buy that machine. They don't forget about your company itself. And with no follow-up and the person needing to buy 6 months from now, the chances that they're going to remember what you showed to them when they were initially doing the research is basically, slim to none. And that's what we're trying to do. So we're trying to have a secondary offer to get their information, stay in touch with them, And then when they do later on, 6 months from now, have the money, have the authorization, whatever, we actually built up and did our work with them so that we get the sale then. Whatever you do between the time that they initially do the research and the time they buy will dictate if you get that sale from them or not, and therefore how profitable your initial PPC campaigns are that are marketing to some people ready to buy today, but also, you're taking the people that aren't ready to buy today and making something of them, if you will. So anyway, with that said, I've mentioned on this channel many times how you should always have an offer on your landing pages. So from the more basic side here, people, if they have a plumbing service, they think, well, if I got a broken toilet and somebody goes to search for broken toilet repair on Google and they find my landing page, that just saying that, get your broken toilet fixed, click here, that's good enough. And for something like that, certainly that's mostly fine. It's going to make you enough money if that's all you did. If you go take a step backwards here, if somebody's looking for plumbing services, maybe they have a pipe that needs to be repaired, it's a bigger decision, right? In that situation, they get to your site, they type in plumbing, companies in Milwaukee, they get to your page, you say you offer plumbing services, give us a call. If they're not ready to actually go ahead and buy right then and there, they're just kind of researching what companies have good reviews and whatnot. By having a secondary offer on that page to get that user's attention right now, and actually engage with you so that you can follow up with them, you're going to increase your profitability of that campaign double digits, probably upwards of almost double by doing that. At least on the people that are going to be spending the real money, maybe spending a couple $1,000s to get something like a major repair done, which in that situation, that's where your bread and butter is those big repairs. So in that situation, you could say, call for special pricing, mention this ad. And what that does, obviously, it prompts the user to say, wow, if I don't call right now, even though I was just checking for reputation, reviews, and just kind of see if I'm going to get quotes, who I should get them from. If I don't call right now and mention this ad, I won't remember this, and therefore I won't get the good price. And I know later on I'm going to probably buy, or I need to, so I should just call now versus waiting till later and not procrastinate. And by not having the user procrastinate, you're going to get a higher contact rate, because later on, even if they thought you had good reviews, the chances that they're going to remember you when they go to buy is much higher than if you would have just got them to call right away, had a conversation with them. You having a conversation with them has increased the likelihood that they're going to eventually buy from you when they do go to buy astronomically more than if they never had that conversation with you initially, when they initially got to your site and thought you had good reviews by itself, if you will. And so, but it goes further than that. You're going to get an increase in likelihood that the person's going to buy from you, having gotten them to call right away for the so-called special pricing. But it also puts you in position, if you do it, to follow up with them. If you follow up with them between the time that after you had that conversation with them and the time they buy, following up with an email autoresponder sequence where you email them once a week with some information of why you're the best, stuff to avoid when getting a pipe, replaced, scams out there to avoid, so on and so forth, to build up a further rapport with the user. Also having a remarketing campaign, so everybody that calls you, which you can do with Google Display Network if you certainly want to, anybody that calls, and only people who call and you've had a conversation with, you could spend money advertising to those people, given the people you talk to are probably, 25% chance they're going to do business with you. So whatever you spend to market to these people, to increase your chances even 10% that they're going to buy, is worth it. And so when you combine the ability of being able to follow up with them with lots of different ads that not just ask them to buy, but actually can do the same thing you do traditionally through email that most people don't get, i.e. stuff to, 10 things to avoid when getting your broken pipe replaced, and then having that on an ad, and then sending them to a blog post where you explain this from your view as the owner, and, how not to get ripped off, getting a pipe replaced. And, the 5 things that make our firm unique. So Some people won't want all that information. Some people will. Of the people who read it, each article and ad that gets clicked through statistically increases your chances of that person eventually buying from you. And so you are going to get an increase in the people that you pay to get to your site to buy, because you're going to get more of them to engage with you right away. And then through the follow-up, you're going to get even more people to buy from you that get to your site that you pay for through the follow-up that you can do that you wouldn't be able to necessarily do do as well if you didn't actually get them to reveal their contact or reveal who they are to you right away. You, of course, can remarket to people who've been to your site and that's it, but you can't do email remarketing with them unless they give you their contact information. And remarketing in and itself isn't, for something like a plumbing service, isn't that great, but when you know you can remarket to somebody that you talked to already, that in and itself becomes profitable, because you got a very, very prime audience to market to there in that case. Anyway, you get the general gist of what I'm talking about here. So the first thing you want to do, though, is have an offer on your site to get them to respond right away, because they're going to respond. The procrastinators will respond, and therefore you're going to get more sales from that. Whether you're going to say call for special pricing, mention this ad like I was talking about, or use code SPOOKY for 20% off this week on your order, gives them a reason to not procrastinate. Or lowest price, get lowest price or get free steak dinner. So in other words, if we don't have the lowest price and you find a lower price, we'll give you a gift card for a Outback Steakhouse where you can get a free steak or a free steak dinner or whatever. It gives the user some reason to respond right away. If they weren't looking to respond right away and they were just in the research process, you get more out of your advertising that way. It looks appealing. And not only that, but as people, if you weren't aware, if we're talking about Google search ads, they search for something like get a home mortgage. And then they start looking at companies. They start looking around for different sites. Not every person they contact necessarily, even if somebody didn't think your site was the best, but you have an offer like get the lowest rate on your mortgage or get a free steak dinner, just by saying that, you increase the likelihood that they're going to just buy from you in general, because it's just something that's going to catch their eye, if you will, versus just say, we offer mortgages, call us. So anyway, long story short, all of you guys should have an offer tied to your primary offer. So tied to what you want them to do, either buy through the cart or buy by calling us or filling out the contact form. You need to have buy and we'll give you XYZ using this code for this week only, or buy, give us a call so you can buy, because we're going to give you the guaranteed lowest price. And if you don't get it, we're going to give you a gift card to your favorite restaurant or whatever, because that's going to make your PPC campaign automatically, just with that alone, at least 20% more profitable. We've doubled the profitability of PPC campaigns, over doubled, with a really, really good offer tied to the primary offer of what you're offering. Specifically the one with the guaranteed lowest price in the mortgage space, or get a free steak dinner. That was one where we more than doubled the profitability of the campaign by saying that, because in that market, that's one of the main things you're looking for, is who can get me the lowest rate, and they don't want to contact, it's hard to contact a bunch of companies to get the best rate. So that one, really appealed to our market, and you're going to have to do research, out of these offers I gave you, what's going to work the best, what's going to appeal the most in your market, and what you think that people would listen to the most, and then work out the mathematics, what it costs to deliver that, test it out, see what your lift in response is, and then that's how you figure out what your best offer is. But that's not what this video is about per se. You do this first if you haven't done this other thing that I'm mentioning, what this video is primarily about. In addition to having a really good offer tied to what you're selling, for those not ready to buy yet, that even though you're offering 20% off this week, or you're going to give them the lowest price on a quote, or they're going to get a free steak dinner, some people are going to want to get a quote or buy right away. For the rest of those people, to make sure you're getting the most out of your PPC campaigns, you're going to have a secondary offer that's going to offer them something that doesn't require them to buy anything, but it's going to get them because they took further action with you, therefore they're going to be more likely to buy from you, but give you their information so that you could touch them through email, through marketing campaigns many, many times leading up to the point where they decide whether they're going to buy or not, if or when they're going to buy in general. And to give you some examples of how this actually looks, these are all real examples that I've done before, including these offers I mentioned up here that are tied to the primary offer are all real offers that we've used. These secondary offers to get more out of the PPC traffic, to get people's information and just hear from them, are also all ones that we've used before. To give you the first example here of one secondary offer that we put on a landing page to get more out of the PPC traffic that we had was to do a case study. And case studies in a lot of markets are boring. Nobody gives a crap. In other words, if you can go out and Google your product or service and then case study, and you can find on Google search like 10 case studies, don't do this. It's pointless. Information's only useful to at least to promote through PPC campaigns if you can't find that information elsewhere and you know people care about it. So it would have to be both of those things to work to make this your secondary offer and have it work or have it be significant to you and will actually raise the profitability of your ads by 20% or more, which they should do. But in the data breach space, so in public relations, if you have someone hacks your company and then you have to hire a PR company to make sure you mitigate the damages of releasing that information that you've been hacked, all customer data has been compromised, and not have your stock price go down or have that take down your company or affect your company as little as possible. There's actual PR companies that specialize in dealing with people that have been hacked like that because it's happening so often now. In that specific niche, we just did a case study on, how to actually deal with this. And because that's so niche and there wasn't any case studies out there, for somebody that had that exact problem, case study is amazing. I want to see how some other company, and this isn't something a lot of companies would share, therefore why the case study is so rare and then so useful. I want to see how these other companies are dealing with it, and maybe this isn't as bad a situation as we thought, and then in that case study it sells your services perfectly. If somebody else was hacked, they barely were affected, now I know who to hire. So in that regard, it was great. So maybe a case study is your great second offer. Contact us for PR services, data breach PR services, or read our case study on a company that had a data breach in which we helped and came out the other side, fairly well. And what we had to actually do to do it, what that looked like, that kind of thing. So that worked extremely well. You may want to do for your secondary offer a brochure. We had a luxury mailbox company where we're selling mailboxes, high-end mailboxes, and you can't list all the various options because it was somewhat customizable. So the secondary offer was get a brochure of all the different variants and types and colors and everything that you can get the mailboxes in. So instead of basically seeing a swatch on the site that shows you can get it in blue and orange and all that, which doesn't show you very much, you can have a mailbox where it shows you a literal blue mailbox, a green one, and realistically they could have did that on their site, but if you hold back a little bit of information and put that in the brochure, knowing people are going to want to see this mailbox in all the different colors because that helps them decide what color they're going to get. Now you have a very strong pull for people to give their email address, which is, I would recommend holding something back and then giving it away in the secondary offer if you're going to have a strong email sequence that you're going to be able to email them afterwards. Otherwise, just keep it on the site. But hold back a little bit of what they want, put it into a package like a brochure, and then get their email address and then email them a really good written email sequence that explains who you are, why deal with you, how you were founded, what's your mission, all this stuff that they would need to know about you to feel confident doing business with you, and then why you're different than other products, about your warranty, all this stuff. And then by time if the emails are done right, and they're in market for, like in this case, a luxury mailbox, the chances that they're going to buy from you is really high now, having read those emails. So just by holding back a bit of information, having to get their email address to get it, you put yourself in a position to get a whole huge list of email addresses that now you can market to again and again and again, versus them, oh, I can see what the blue mailbox looks like. Okay, I'm gone, and then forget about you, in other words. So that's one other approach you can take for a secondary offer. You could do a free test. We sold a water filter system, a higher end one that was like a couple $1,000s. One of the great things about selling something for premium pricing, or you could just raise your pricing, is you can start reinvesting the price into gimmicks to get the person to buy it. And a lot of times that's the way to go. In this case, we could do a water test. Send us or request a test of your water, and we'll be able to show you what's wrong with your water. In other words, enter your email address. We send you a package. You send, or the customer sends in the water. We'll test it. We'll tell you what's going on. With that, work out a very cheap way to do the water test in-house. Basically cost you $10 to do that water test all in, basically in bulk. And now you got the email address for $10. So whereas on a $2,000 water filter, not too many people are going to buy that right away. Now you got a way to build up the value of that water filter over time by emailing them because they got the water test. And of course, because they got the water test in and itself, you've built up enough rapport with the user and familiarity with the user at that point that they're just going to buy at a much higher rate because of that alone. So that's a really, really, really smart secondary offer to have on a product like a water filter. You could be selling an air filter, it would be no different. Free air test. We'll send you testing equipment, it's maybe a portable one. You test your air, you could see. And that would be very interesting for selling a high-end, $1,500 air filter that's supposed to have some amazing capabilities or whatever. And because you're selling it and you're getting more profit margin, you can afford to have that gimmick, which other people don't have. And so when they get to your page and they see that gimmick, now they're super hot. It's very high, much more likely that they're going to ultimately deal with you initially when they first get to the site, and you have your PPC campaigns make money as a result. Anyway, that's that. Now, you could do a free analysis. We had a hair restoration product company. See if hair restoration will work for you. Free analysis. And the analysis really is just a form, a long questionnaire type form. When you get done with it, you can essentially see what the results are going to be. So with this, the free analysis, you could ask for their email address up front for something like this, or you could just send them to the questionnaire to see if these products that if you're looking for hair restoration will even work for a person like you. That the information, by the way, is supposed to be independent of the product that this guy was selling. It's just in general, will hair restoration products, hair regrowth products work for you? And then it asks you all these kind of medical questions to get to the form, into the form. In order to get the result, you have to enter your email address. Bang, now you have their email address. Now you can stay in touch with somebody that has the problem and it, in general, needs what you have. And now you know that they qualify. Now you could contact them by phone if you wanted to. But more than that, you can just stay in touch with them with the email autoresponder and the emails that they're going to get, and build up the familiarity with you and your company enough that you eventually can make a sale. And I'll get into at the end of the video about the email responder, how to do that. Basically though, the email autoresponders generally need to be written by a sales copywriter. It needs to sound like it's coming from the voice of the owner, and it has to look like you're getting one-on-one communication with the owner. Hi, Jake. I'm Mark, and I'm the owner of the company. And I thought it was great. You contacted us. It looks like you're getting an email from your friend, because if you get an email address from a company, what do? You delete it. If it looks like it came from somebody that, as a friend or whatever, you don't delete it, you read it. Even though it's from a company, you make it look like the company isn't contacting them. The person at the company is contacting them. You build up a friendship, and that's what a sales copywriter can do. A sales copywriter can make it, through sales writing, think you know the person who wrote that. And you are basically friends with that person who wrote it. It's like watching a YouTuber. You don't know that person. They don't know you, but you think you know them because they do such a good job talking with the camera. It seems like they're talking to you. That's what email autoresponders, if you're going to do it right, that's how you do it. And if you combine that with a secondary offer where you're going to build up a ton of these extra emails, that's why you're going to get an extra 30, 40, 50, 60% more profit from your campaigns by having a secondary offer that picks up these emails. Anyway, that was free analysis. You could do get a clearance alert. So for a candy wholesaler, if you own a convenience store, you're going to buy the candy in bulk. This company sold candy in bulk, both to consumers and businesses though. In this case, it said, would you like the candy at clearance prices? If so, enter your email address. We'll give you an alert when this product goes on clearance, as well as other products go on clearance. And so with that, again, we're not even having to give them anything, really, other than an email when eventually this product or other products go on clearance, which we want to get rid of anyway, but don't go on clearance very much. But the potential of getting something for cheaper than they should allows them to get the email address from that user. And then you can use that email address to build up a rapport with the user, like I was saying. So that's what we did there. So that's a clever way of doing something that seems like a lot of value to the user, which we're not tricking them. We're actually, when it goes on clearance, we will contact them. But frankly, there's almost no real value there, if you will. We're not lying to them though. But you could do something like that seems like it has a ton of value, but in reality doesn't cost you barely anything to do. Tied to that, you could run a contest. Would you like this part? So this was for an auto parts company. Would you like this part at half off or 50% off? 1 in 10 of the people who fill out this form will get this part at 50% off. Enter your email address. So this is I call it the contest offer. And so 50% off is your cost on the product. So in order to get a whole shit ton of emails, you could offer the part that they're looking at cost, so you could get 9 other people to give you their email address. And those 9 people you get the email address, you're going to sell one of those people a product, which means you're going to have a net profit in general from having to offer it's not even costing you, I should say, anything to offer that product at cost to one person out of the 10. And then with that, the 9 emails are free, and those people who, from the 9 emails, a lot of them will, in the car part space, will buy more than one. So in general, in your business, if you're dealing with repeat business, repeat customers, you should be looking at trying to build an email list. Build up an email list and keep it growing. And if you're running PPC campaigns, it doesn't cost you anything to build a list, because you just got to come up with a secondary offer like I'm telling you here, and that list will just keep growing. Eventually that list will get so big, it in itself will outpace the sales that you're getting from your PPC campaigns, because you can, it's just how it is. Eventually you have such an army of people that like you, trust you through that email list. And if you're doing your email marketing really like you're supposed to, like I was talking about before, you're just going to have people through that email list, maybe not through the emails directly, but because they read your email on a regular basis, if they're going to buy a part, they're going to buy it from you. That's the whole point. So that's another one. 2 more here to go through. Free consult. So lawyers do a free consultation all the time. I originally saw this done by somebody else. They just said, talk to a lawyer free. And so you see free consult all the time, pitched by lawyers, and it just seems like, so what? So everybody else offers that, and they're going to try to sell me something. But if you say, talk to a lawyer free, it seems like, oh wow, I'm going to get to talk to a lawyer for free, even though the free consult's the same thing. That worked really good in an ad, but as it comes to the landing page, talk to our divorce lawyer for free. Just enter your email address here. And basically that was the same way as generating a lead, any other way that they were doing it normally by saying free consult. But it got a lot more people to respond because it sounds different and it sounds more appealing, even though we're giving them the same exact thing. So in this situation, what I'm saying here is you could just simply take something that you have already or is out there already and twist it and make that your secondary offer. And with that could be your way to build up email addresses. So in this particular situation, basically that wasn't a secondary offer, it was a primary offer because we were getting real leads the way that they would classify as real leads, i.e. talk to one of our lawyers for free, enter your email address here. You potentially could just use that example that I gave you, reword something that you're already offering for free, and then use that as your secondary offer. So I just thought I'd throw that in there. And with that, a free consultation, if you're not talking about the legal space, in and itself could be what the offer is. Because everybody's usually buying a product to solve a problem. You could say, are you having trouble finding a mattress that'll work good for sleeping on your side because you're a side sleeper? Enter your email address to have a free consult from our side sleeping expert. If you sold a mattress, that would be a fantastic way to get a lead. And of course, in that situation, you'd have to spend time talking to the person. But if you could literally time it, okay, you get 15 minutes on the phone. Can you sell them in 15 minutes? If not, the call's over basically. But if you're selling a $700 mattress, paying a salesperson to talk to someone for 15 minutes cost you like $10. That's a great proposition. So a free consult may be a good way to just get sales by having that secondary offer directly. But then you still got the email address that you can market to them forever after about things that you need to know as a side sleeper and get more sales. So you get my point there. So anyway, that's for the free consult. So the final example I have here is for the free price guide. So sometimes people just really want to know what the prices are easily. So you could say, call here to inquire, and the secondary offer you could say, free price guide, enter your email address. And if you know everybody just wants pricing real bad when they call, have a secondary offer where you give them the prices, but they have to cough up their email to get it. And you'll end up with a ton of emails in. One place where we did this was where we were selling drones for commercial applications, like for farming and different survey purposes. And one thing that everybody wanted to know in that situation was what's the prices on these drones, because usually people don't list prices on their site. So you could take that pin-up demand that you know about just by operating your business and hearing what people are asking for in the sales department or that you're speaking to over the phone, and then have your secondary offer revolve around that, i.e. in this case, your prices, and get the email address. And with that, somebody who inquires about the prices is somebody that's a good lead, right? They may not be able to afford, which is why a lot of people are asking what the prices are, but at least there's the small section of the people who get the prices and think it's affordable. You got many, many whacks at them, through the emails that you can continuously stay communicated with them over time. And that makes for a lot more sales out of your initial PPC budget, and them getting to the site, not wanting to speak to a salesperson, but would be willing to enter their email address to get the pricing from you, if you will. So anyway, with all that said, you'd start doing all these. These are all examples. I know for sure we were getting at least 20% more profit from having the secondary offer here, minus the free consult, because that was more of a arbitrary example. But all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 examples here, we had plus 20% increase in profits from the PPC campaign by getting the email addresses from people just by adding an additional secondary offer on the page, and then having the email sequence, and then having the remarketing sequence along with it. We always do email and remarketing together to really capitalize on that so-called audience that we're propagating. So you could have, like I was mentioning before, a remarketing audience that you have remarketing ads that show up for a person after they leave the site, for people who just call or just fill out a form. So in this case, if they fill out your secondary offer form and give you their email address, you can have remarketing ads show up for just those people. So if it's not profitable to remarket to everybody on your site already, which it should be, but if it's not, you can just remarket to the person who filled out the form, and that might be an affordable way for you to run remarketing ads, or it's worth it to run those remarketing ads at that smaller sub-segment of traffic that hit your site, if you will. But I would say the even bigger profit comes in, if you can do it right, is through the email, because you could build up a rapport with the user through email that you can't build up through remarketing. Remarketing itself, like I said, if you're selling caskets, you could say, see the 10 ways that funeral homes rip off their customers, and put that on an ad, on a remarketing ad, and send them to people to an article, and write as the voice of the funeral director, explaining through your 30 years of experience how people get ripped off at other funeral homes, to build up a rapport with users that way. You absolutely could do that. But when you get an email that seems like it comes from the funeral director itself to your email address, it doesn't match what can be done through a PPC ad in a blog post itself, or article that's on a blog post, which I usually post articles like that we send people to from our remarketing ads to a blog post because it's easy. But the autoresponder, usually I'll send an email right away, and then at day 3, then day 5, then day 7, and then once a week after that. But with that, we're saying, like, first email saying, "Hi, John, I'm the funeral director at our company. I know you contacted us about XYZ. We sent that information out, which, send out the price guide or whatever, or the brochure, whatever it is. I'm just here because I wanted to let you know there's some things that you should know. Certainly, if you are going to buy a casket, before you buy it, I've been in the funeral industry for 30 years. I'm just going to send you some basic information. With that, there's a lot of ripoffs and scams and stuff, so just thought you would like to know this information. Okay, thank you." And then, so that email sounds like it's very personalized. And then a second email that they get is, why we got in business specifically. And it sounds kind of commercialized, but if the email's written right, as long as you're leading with value and it sounds personalized, they will read all your emails. That's the difference between making this work and making it not, really. Then you could say, why we got into this business, because other funeral homes are doing this, this, and this to their customers, and we thought it was ridiculous, so we did this, this, and this to fix this industry. And so by reading that, I'm getting value in that I know what to avoid now. And so every email the person, when they get done reading what they have, they should say, yes, that was interesting, because it can't be boring, and I got some value out of this. Either I know what to avoid, or I know what I should be looking for in general. So that's what your goal is on every email. And if you can't do that only on 7 to 10 emails, then you only send 7 to 10 emails out. You don't send more junk content. Because the first time they read one of the emails and it's bullshit, they're not going to read the next email. So your goal, and if you have to hire a sales copywriter to do it, you do it. And it's going to cost probably $100 an email for a decent sales copywriter to write a 1,000-word or less piece to go in just one email to get those things done to where it sounds personalized and you're building rapport and there's value there for the user every single email that they get, so that the next email that comes, they're willing to read it and it doesn't just going to spam. And by the time they've read 20 emails from you, they are going to buy from you. If they're going to buy that casket at some point, they're buying it from you. That's the opportunity that you have here. So if they are going to buy that casket, they are going to ultimately buy from you. And that's the power of using the secondary offers here to be able to get the chance to get in front of them through email to do that kind of selling. So in other words, just get their email. It's worthless without the follow-up of the emails done in the way that I kind of described to you there. That's where the big money comes in. And the better you do the email, obviously, the more you're going to make. But if you do it even halfway decently, you're making at least 20% more profit on your PPC campaigns, because guess what? Nobody on your that you have as competition, not in all markets, but 95% of markets aren't going to have anything like I'm talking about here, because they may have emails that they send out, but they're dog shit. They don't actually sound personalized. They're talking in company jargon. They're talking in company voice, not on a personalized basis. And if they are talking in the voice of the owner, which you want to be doing here, if it wasn't clear, it's the voice of the owner that you want to be writing the emails in, the information isn't helping the user, or it's not well written, or both. So, and to do it right, you either have to be a copywriter or you have to hire one. And when you tell somebody that they need to spend $1,000 to write an email, because if you write 10 emails like that, and you start, every single person who you get their email address, they're going to buy from you at a 30% higher rate. their eyes just glaze over. They don't understand why marketing has to be so expensive. And I've went over that many times on this channel before. Good marketing people don't need to work for you. If they're really, really, really good at marketing, they can start a little business selling anything. They don't need to work for your little bit of money. If you're going to hire a good marketing person, either they have to make a lot, so much, or as much as if they were running your business yourself, or you're going to get somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. At least when it comes to like copywriting, which is so difficult. Good copywriters charge $2, $3 a word per word. This isn't me saying it. It's just general knowledge that's out there as far as sales copywriting goes. And writing these emails is sales copywriting. Yes, it's an email. Just because you want it to be just an email doesn't make it not sales copywriting. You're doing sales through the email. It's not direct sales, but it's long form sales where we're building up a sale over a longer stretch in terms of rapport building, if you will. There's not a real good way for me to describe that, but you get my point. It's not a direct pitch. It's an indirect pitch that's done through emails. It doesn't ask the user to necessarily buy directly, but it keeps them hooked in so that because you know that they wouldn't be Googling for a casket and wind up on your site without, and still be on your email list here. It gets the person who's going to buy a casket anyway, but they get it, to buy it from you, basically. So in that, all you're trying to do is build up rapport. You know the sale's coming. You want to be the one who gets it. You ask for the email up front as a secondary offer like I was telling you about, and you stay in touch with them until they buy so that you're the top of mind person when they have the money or when the day comes they can't delay the purchase anymore. So anyway, that's the whole thing. I hope you enjoyed this video. I have a ton of other content that I both already have on this channel and going to be coming out with about as far as working money-making PPC strategies to make you more money and actual actionable advice on how to do them. And so you should subscribe to this channel so you could be extremely good at PPC and make millions of dollars in your business through PPC. It's easy to do. Many people who watch this channel do that very thing. So with that said, if you liked the video, also you should consider giving it a thumbs up / like. And you should subscribe to this channel because we're going to have ongoing really good information that we're testing things at our agency, at our PPC agency here, to find out what works and giving you them on a silver platter here to use for your own business. So therefore you should subscribe. If you want supplementary information, you like this video, I also have a blog at guaranteedppc.com/blog, which has step-by-step advice on how to build PPC campaigns the way that I build them for our clients here to guarantee their results, because that's what we got to do at our firm here. And so if you're looking on a more individualized micro level on how to do things, you can find great information by me there as well. So, but beyond that, if you have any questions about creating a secondary offer for yourself or anything that you're unsure about that we talked about today, leave me a comment below, down below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel within a couple days' time. So as a final note, I want to bring up a new program that we have here at our PPC agency where we're offering turnkey PPC campaigns to people where we got campaigns that we've ran for years for different clients where, we know the results of what we can get for that particular market for that particular client. If you wanted to start up a similar business in a different market that doesn't compete with that business, we could give you the exact same campaigns that they're getting and using and the exact results they're getting. So you could open up a similar business in your market and not do any of the work on your PPC campaigns, because what you have already is a campaign that makes, literally speaking, millions of dollars of sales profitably a year. So if you don't want to mess with PPC anymore, start a side business, use a campaign that's already working. Or maybe we've already got a campaign working in your exact market and you'll hit the jackpot because you don't have to do any of the work that I'm talking about that you normally have to do to make money on this channel. We'll hook you up with what we already have. But we have different campaigns where you could just literally start up a business doing a foundation repair company and outsource the work to some other company in your area and take the PPC campaign that we have that makes millions of dollars already and just simply use it because you're using that campaign, because it is so efficient, outsource the work, and have a business taking the the cream on the top for yourself, the top 10% of the revenue, and you got a business. You could do it in product campaigns or with product campaigns that we have that work where the client's not using those particular campaigns anymore. You could source similar products from China and do the same thing there. So anyway, if you're interested in that type of thing, reach out to my firm at Guaranteed PPC. We could talk about the different markets. We have PPC campaigns and go from there. But beyond that, I'll end it with that. Hope you enjoyed this video and saw a lot of value from it. I hope that you try out what I'm talking about in terms of these secondary offers to get more out of your PPC campaigns. And I hope to see you on my next one. See you there.